Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, as soon as the winter sets in, homeowners begin to prioritise the security of their premises. In fact, on a per capita basis, Irish homeowners have one of the highest rates of monitored alarms on their residences. For many years, PhoneWatch almost had a monopoly on the Irish market, but just like how technology is changing the home security solutions that are available, the makeup of the market is also shifting with the emergence of new entrants. Eoin Dunne is the Managing Director of PhoneWatch, and he joins us now to explain how the home security market has changed. But first, Eoin, how has PhoneWatch been performing in 2023?
It's been a good year for us, Karl, but it's a challenging year. I don't think there's any business in the land that could say that they haven't been impacted in some way by, consumer confidence impacted by the cost of living crisis. We have a pretty good position in the market. We have 120,000 customers. And over the last decade or so, we've grown that by 50%. So we're averaging about 5% growth per annum in our customer base. This year, we've seen some slackness in those numbers in the first half of the year, but the second half has been better. As I think we're seeing people's confidence return, if you like, post-COVID and post the inflationary crisis that we saw last year. So it's improving as the year goes on.
How many properties are targeted by burglars in Ireland each year?
Well, the official crime statistics that are published by the CSO show that in the last 12 months, there's been 9,000 burglaries reported in Ireland. Obviously, there would be probably more attempted burglaries, but they aren't included in the statistics. Now, that's a lower figure than has been the case. Obviously, during COVID, Karl, figures dropped dramatically, as not only did everybody stayed at home, but the burglars did as well, I guess. So figures dropped quite a bit in COVID, but they have started to climb. But let me give you one, if you like, sort of broader context here. We've done analysis of the burglary statistics and the crime numbers over the last 10 years. And in that time, in the last 10 years, up until the end of 2022, there have been over 180,000 burglaries reported in Ireland. That's 1 in every 10 households in Ireland, on average, has been burgled in the last 10 years. That's a pretty sobering thought.
Now, the level of technological change that has impacted many sectors is unprecedented in recent years, and of course the home security market is no exception here either. So how has home security evolved over recent years?
Okay, well, I'd say there's 3 main areas in which that has happened. First of all, a monitored house alarm needs a connection path from the alarm to the monitoring centre. And that's the basic premise of our business. Our customers have PhoneWatch systems installed in the house, and all of those systems are connected back to our central monitoring station, which is monitoring those houses for alarm activations 24/7, 365. The PhoneWatch, as I said, is 30 years old. It started out as a part of the Aircom group, or Telecom Air, and that monitoring was done over telephone lines, your old standard plain old telephone line. Nowadays, the biggest change is that systems are monitored both over the mobile network and over the broadband network, obviously where broadband is available, so that you've got much more resilience in terms of the connection between the home and the monitoring centre. That's the first key development. The second one is convenience. I'm not sure if you've got an alarm or if any of your listeners have an alarm and they head out and they're going, did I put the alarm on? The PhoneWatch alarm system now has an app, as do most systems in fairness, where you can literally from your phone, you can control your system. You can turn it on, you can turn it off, you can see whether people have entered the house or not. And the third and probably the biggest technology change is the advent of video. If, for example, somebody breaks into a house and they trigger the sensor, that will take images and send it back to our monitoring centre. So we're not, years gone by, we would have simply said there's an activation. Now we can actually, once there's an activation, see if there is actually somebody, in the house or whether it was a false alarm. So they're the 3 key things: convenience via apps, video, and the communications networks have improved to provide much greater resilience.
Of course, PhoneWatch currently has a large market share of it has 120,000 customers. But are you concerned about possible new entrants into the Irish market?
We're in the market for about over 30 years now, and for the first 20 of those years, while Eircom owned PhoneWatch, I think it's probably fair to say that PhoneWatch had if not a monopoly, well then a large share of the market. The reality is that over the last decade or so, Karl, there's been a number of new entrants into the market. Obviously, I won't go through them in detail, as you can understand, but there are now up to half a dozen people. So I think that there is a range of choice for people in the market. So the industry that we're in has become very much more competitive over the last 10 years or so. I think the debate is whether new technologies will threaten, will threaten the industry as it currently is. Cameras and phones put an end to the camera business, if you like, or change it drastically. To be honest with you, I don't have any major concerns about that because, and this is my own view. The reality is that we have 120,000 customers, which is a pretty big sample size. The level of satisfaction that we measure with those customers is very, very high because we do give people, as do others, of course, in the market, that sense of safety and security. And I think technology, to be honest with you, has been our friend. I haven't seen it being majorly disruptive to our industry so far. It's more competitive. More people are getting alarms. And, Ireland has one of the highest instances of monitored alarm ownership in the whole of Europe. Just by way of another detail here, like about 15% of homes in Ireland, we estimate, there's no hard data, but through research and analysis, we estimate that about 15, maybe 17% of Irish homes have a monitored alarm. The European standard, the European level on that is less than 5%. So we are quite conscious of the need to keep our homes safe and secure. And, and I think while the burglary rate here has thankfully come down over the years, is by international standards is relatively low. If you compare it to our near neighbours in the UK and England and Wales, the burglary rate in terms of how many houses per 1,000 per capita, like per 1,000 houses, how many houses have been burgled in the last 12 months is 75% greater than the rate it is in Ireland here. So, and their level of monitored alarms is much lower. So we do believe that, we know in fact that having an alarm, and particularly a monitored alarm, does give a very high degree of, it's very much a deterrent to the potential for opportunistic burglars to strike.
Oh, and looking ahead, especially at the area of innovation, what could the future of home security look like?
Well, hopefully bigger and better, Karl. I think that, I mean, we as I said, we were owned by the Eircom Group, and we're now part of a much wider European network, where we're one of, within the group, we have 8 countries now throughout Europe, and with a headquarters over in Norway. The group have a very, very innovative and very visionary view of what's actually happening in the home security market. I think that there's huge opportunities, Europe-wide, with a very low penetration of monitored alarms there, to provide a greater sense of safety and security. I think that currently, a lot of it is focused on what we call intrusion, which is deterring people from breaking into your house. But just to give you a flavour of where it's going, as standard, we will now provide a smoke alarm so that every PhoneWatch customer that's been installed in the last 10 years has a smoke alarm monitored as standard. And, I can't overstress the importance of having not just a smoke alarm, but a monitored one whereby if there is an activation, that our monitoring centre will kick into action. We're looking to see now where, as we enter into, if you like, the era of smart homes, we have humidity detectors, temperature detectors, water leak detectors, which allows you to, in other ways, keep your home if you like, just, more safe and secure. And it getting kind of into the smart home scenario where, you can, before you leave the office in the evening, have a look at your app and, see what the temperature is at home and then decide whether you want to put the heating on or not. So I think, it is moving into the area of from security, which is about, protecting your house, into safety, which is like things like CO detectors and smoke detectors, and then further into convenience, where you can switch on lights and check humidity and temperature and things like that. So that's where I think that the general industry is going.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Eoin Dunne, the Managing Director of PhoneWatch, and I'd like to thank Eoin for providing us with an insight into the future of home security.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.